Hello my fellow gamers and welcome once again to Battlefields of Videos. Today we are back to City Skylines with another episode in the traffic guide. In this episode I'm going to cover lane usage and how vehicles actually use lanes and how you can force lane usage in the normal mode when you play the game without any mods, and this is something that you can actually do without the mods, but the mods make it far simpler. Now this is my test city where I am going to test out the traffic, and I'm going to show you just a little sneak preview. If we take a look at this traffic, and it is probably something that you are all too familiar with, the traffic is using this one lane and the other lane is almost always empty. This is something that you usually see in your cities and you've probably seen in other people's cities as well. I'm going to show you that this can get a lot better if you follow some simple instructions and rules that I'm going to show you in this video. Now let me show you just how much better this can look. I think we can both agree that this look is far better than what we just saw before. And just to show you that this isn't just because of an upgrade to a highway instead of a two-lane one-way road, I'm going to show you how this looked before I fix this highway. Once again, most of the traffic uses one single lane and that makes the traffic crawl on it. Like I said, there was an improvement done here, but it's not just upgrading the roads to a higher lane road. And here's another example. Again, you can see the highways here in the middle. Horrible usage of the middle lane by the entire traffic on it. Rarely any cars using any other lanes but the middle lane. Once again, I will show you that this can get a lot better. Here's the same stretch of road, only a little bit different, but the influence on the traffic is huge, as you can witness here. Let us take a look at another example. We have here a highway, we have this highway off-ramp, and we have a problem here with the traffic getting intertwined because this traffic that's coming in from this part of the city is moving forward and the traffic that's coming off the highway is moving into the same lanes that this traffic is using. And we can see here that the traffic pileup is about to happen as more and more vehicles line up here, unable to move down here at the same speed. Now let's see just how better this can look. Here we go, same spot, but with a different configuration of roads. There's no more traffic here. We can see that it's flowing nicely, there are no stoppages, and it's not piled up. Just in case if you needed another example, here's one more. We see this huge traffic on these roads that is coming in into this industrial part of the city, and it has created a huge pileup that's all the way to the entrance. And you can see just more and more vehicles coming in, teleporting because they're unable to move at the right speed. Now let's see what we can do about this. With a little bit of traffic magic, no pileup, no pileup, no pileup. Again, no pileup, and once again, no pileup. Do we see anybody teleporting? Nope, there's nobody teleporting. Now let's get on to the rest of the video, and you can see how you can do these things by yourself just after watching this video. Like I said at the beginning of this video, this is my test city, but it's more like several test cities at one location. In this first part here, you can see in this overview that this is a huge residential area, then we have a commercial area, an industrial area for generic industry here, and then some specialized industry like the agriculture and forestry down here. But how are the roads managed here? Well, I've used a lot of one-way roads here, and for good reason. When we enter the city, we have to choose whether we want to go right or forward. Now, this is something that already forces the AI to choose the lane because of the fact that on the right side we have the commercial area and the residential area, and from this side you cannot reach the industry unless you go all the way down here. As you can see here, that this is a one-way street, and go to the left, but again you cannot go up to the industry, you cannot go through here to the industry. You have to take a full circle around to get to this road here and get back into the industry area, which means that this way I've effectively forced the traffic not to choose this part here if it's an industry truck that wants to go to the part of the city that holds generic industry. This has already forced traffic to use multiple lanes. When it enters the city, It chooses a lane depending on where it needs to go, and this is the key part of forcing traffic to use lanes. You have to give them a reason to go somewhere. For example, residential areas, any people who are moving into those residential areas, they turn here to the right as well. And if they're a vehicle that's exporting or coming back from an export of the forestry or agriculture industry, they will use this path as well. And you can see it here as I choose the export tab. You can see a tractor and you can see a forestry truck that use this road, this one way, to come over here, and from here they're going to pick where they need to go in order to come back to their originating building. This is Woody's Woods here, and this way I've once again separated traffic that is using these streets. But now let's go a bit deeper. If we have the generic industry here, it produces vans that deliver goods. But as you can see here, there is no direct connection between the industry and the commercial, because there are no streets here that connect this one way and the commercial area. The commercial area can only be entered once a delivery truck comes back all the way up here, takes this road here, and you can see a delivery truck here. It is delivering goods to the drugstore that's already down here, and it comes from this factory. Even though this factory is all the way up here and this commercial building is already all the way down here, it has had to take the route forced by it by the one-way roads and by specific zoning. Now, as it comes to this intersection, it will pass it, go over here to this one, and then use this one-way road to get to the commercial building. Now, as you can see, it is going to use the left lane. But who is using the right lane, you might ask? Or the right lane is used by vehicles that actually need to go down or right. And how is this forced? By the ending of it. You actually force the usage of lanes by the ending of the lane. You can see here that these lanes provide only the ability to go to the right and to the left. There is no forward going, which means that if a vehicle wants to go to the right side, it will use the right lane. If it wants to go to the left side, it will use the left lane. And there's no mistake here, except when it comes to police officers, because they can pretty much use any lane they want. And if we keep watching the traffic here, you can watch how there is no vehicle except the police that can break this rule. If you're a vehicle that wants to go left, you'll take the left lane. If you're a vehicle that wants to take the right lane, you'll take the right lane. And this effectively means that you force the traffic to use all lanes. But if we go over here and when we take a look at this intersection, we can find that we're pretty much annoyed because this right lane is not used, and we have traffic coming in from one intersection wanting to use the left lane, we have the traffic coming from the second road that wants to use this left lane, and we have traffic coming in from here that wants to use the left lane. So we have traffic coming in from three directions that is forcibly using the left lane instead of the right lane. And if we follow this lane, we just need to find its arrows. And if we go all the way up here, we can find two arrows. But if we take a closer look, this one says it can go straight up and left, and this one says it can go just straight up. Now you would wonder, why is this truck and all the other vehicles choosing the lane that's actually full of vehicles, even though they're going forward instead of the lane that's actually the one that goes forward? And this is pretty much because they can. They don't care. The traffic in this game does not care about the other traffic. It just calculates the route depending on its own needs and its own fastest way to get where it's going. But the fastest way doesn't actually come into consideration when it comes to all the other traffic. Now all these vehicles are slowing down each other because they're using the same lane. They could be going faster if they use this free lane, but no, because they can use this lane, they will use this lane. And this just goes to show you that these arrows are the kings in this game. Now, if you were to use a mod, a traffic mod, you could simply now click here and disable this arrow that goes forward, forcing the traffic to just use this lane to go forward and this lane to turn. But as we are playing without mods, we cannot do this. But how can we force the traffic unless we do what I showed you here and have the traffic not be able to use any other lanes except the ones you need them? But here you can't do this because you need this lane for them to exit the city and you need this lane for them to go over here. Now let me show you in a future save how you can actually force this behavior. Welcome to Traffic City save number 3. Previously you saw save number 1, this is save number 3. And you can see that something is different here. This road here is no longer a road, it's actually a highway. And if we take a closer look here, we can see that the arrows have changed with the upgrade. You can see that this arrow now is specifically designed to go to the left. This arrow in the middle has also the ability to go up and left, and this arrow on the right side has the ability to just go forward. Once again, we can see most of the traffic using the same logic. If there's an arrow for me that allows me to go forward and turn, I'll use it to go forward or turn. I don't care, even though there's an arrow here for me to go up and there's an arrow here for me to turn, I'm just gonna use the middle of the road because this is most convenient to me and I can either turn or drive forwards, and I only care about this one. Now let's look at something very interesting. If we take a look at these arrows down here, you can see that there are two arrows going up and one arrow going up and to the left. But there is no vehicle that's actually using this arrow as an arrow to go up. They're only using it as an arrow to turn left. And why is this so? Because if they were to go up, they would be stuck here. There's no ability here to go up. But shouldn't they be just able to turn onto the middle lane here? No, they cannot, because by default, if this lane is a turning lane and the lane before it allows them to go up, they will previously already use the middle lane and not even dare taking this lane because they would be stuck here. And this shows you that you can actually create a situation where even though they have the ability to use this lane to go forward, at the next intersection, this lane becomes only a turning lane, not a lane that allows forward motion. And this way you can actually stop them from using this lane as a lane to go up. But now, how could we do this? Same thing for this middle lane and force the traffic, if they want to go through up here and over to the exit, to stop using the middle lane and use the outside lane. Now let me show you. Remember the intersection here where they can only turn to the left? Suddenly here we have a sign saying that they can both turn left and go forward. Isn't this a bit weird? What happened here? Well, let's take a look what happened. I've actually added another piece of road here that's actually a dead end. This part here no longer drives over here to the exit. So how do these vehicles actually know where to go and what to do? By adding this dead end, instead of it driving over here to the exit, I have forced the traffic to use these arrows a little bit differently, as this arrow now gives the ability to go up and to the left. And if we keep watching what happens with this arrow, it turns into an arrow that shows just going up. But if you keep going up, you arrive at a dead end. That means that for traffic, this arrow going forward, this arrow going forward, and this arrow going forward no longer provides a destination. And this path here going up is no longer useful at all. It is only used for turning into this road here and this road here, meaning that the traffic no longer can use this path here to go up, just to turn into these streets. But what happens to the middle one? Well, the middle one is open for business. You can go up, you can still go up, and here you can also go up. You can see the arrow from the name of the highway, but it's there, it goes up, and the next arrow goes up too, but into a dead end. So now the traffic is thinking like this. Okay, so if I want to go forward, I cannot use this most outer left lane from its perspective, because it ends in a dead end. I cannot use the middle one because the middle one also ends in a dead end. What this means is that I'm forced to use the most right arrow, which actually allows me to go up and to turn. Where am I turning? Well, I'm turning onto the highway. But where do I go if I go up? If I go up, I go to the exit and I go over to the other part of the city. So now I am forced to use all three lanes. I can use the middle lane to get over here, and I can actually turn even though there is no arrow here, which means that I can use the middle to actually get into this area here. I can use the left lane if I want to turn here, and the most outer lane I will use if I want to go out of the city into the highway or to the other part of the city. Now this effectively means that all you need to control traffic without mods is just to make dead ends and forcibly have the traffic pick the side of the road, pick the lane of the road that is actually going to get them where they need to go, while disabling their ability to use any other roads for what they need. This way you're forcing the traffic to follow your paths and not choose their own. And this means that this road, which used to be wholly packed on its outermost left lane, is no longer packed on this lane. The middle lane is used a bit more, but the outer lane is used a lot as well. So this way I've forced the traffic to use 3 lanes fully instead of forcing itself onto one lane and choosing to go forward or left on that lane. And by having several intersections here, depending on which intersection they want to go on, they actually have to use the specific lane. If they want to use this intersection here, they have to use the outer most left lane. If they want to use this intersection, they have to use the middle lane. And if they want to keep going up and then use this intersection, they have to use this most outer right lane. And this is something that you can do to achieve a great effect throughout your city. And I'm going to show you now the effectiveness of this tactic in a number of other places as well. This is the road system after a very long time of testing and picking through what's best for this city. And there is something that's making this traffic a lot easier than it was before. It is the addition of actually a harbor and a train station that is taking what the ships bring in. It is taking that to the cargo harbor. The cargo harbor spawns these trucks. The trucks go over to the train station, the cargo terminal, and then the trains take this through these tunnels into the industrial areas where they unload, and these trucks then go into the industrial areas, and that is how I import the products necessary for the industry. So this is a closed system of rail that is spawned here at the cargo harbor and then just transferred with the trains to the other parts of the city. And this isn't connected to the regional rail network, considering that this part actually is, and these 2 cargo train stations are connected to the regional area, but these are not. Now, because this lessens the amount of traffic that actually comes here and gets out, because it uses that specific type of transportation, I'm going to go back a few saves before I actually made this possible, so you can see the effect of better road management without mods, but without the cargo harbor and the specialized trains to carry the cargo. Let's just see which save do I pick. Here we are. Save 14 does not have the cargo harbor or the cargo train stations. So now let's see the effectiveness of some of these traffic solutions. For example, I showed you already the entrance to this part and the exit here. I would like to show you another interesting spot, and that is, if I'm not mistaken, over here. There we go. So here we have the highway that is bringing in from the region these products that go to the industrial areas for their processing or creation of goods. And you can see here an entrance to this tunnel, which goes a little bit further up here. And it is connected to another tunnel that also has that dead end that I showed you before. And this is something that comes in from this area of the city. There's a tunnel here leading over here. And now you can see how this works. By having this dead end here, this is a two-lane one-way road. It has 2 highway off-ramps leading into it. One leads into it from one side and the other one leads into it from the other side. And you can see as the traffic comes in, it stays in the lane it came in. So the traffic coming in from the left stays in the left lane. The traffic coming in from the right stays on its right lane. And only later do they change these lanes because of where they're gonna go after they enter this part of the city. But if I were to connect this straight away into the back and not have this dead end part, I would just have traffic which would forcibly try to use the same lane and not choose 2 separate lanes. And you can see the average traffic flow is at 90% here, even with these huge amounts of import and export. This is 4,500 export, 5,500 import. That's actually 10,000 import and export total, meaning a lot of these trucks. And like I said, there is no rail connection, no harbor connection, no airport, just trucks coming in off and to the region. But you can see just how little traffic there actually is because they can move at such high speed and there are no pileups. I think I can find you another example of this. Here we go. Another example of the dead end. You see here, this is highway off-ramp coming in here, and the vehicles can choose either to go into this part of the city or use this tunnel, which actually leads Honestly, I can't even figure out where it leads. All right, over here. So they have the ability to choose whether they're gonna go over this here to this avenue, or use this path here to go to this one-way two-lane street, depending on where they want to take their products to the industry, generic over here, and the ore that's down here, or the forestry and agriculture that's over here. But the point here is that this dead end here, which is now a bit covered by this tunnel, this dead end here forces the traffic that comes in from this highway off-ramp to use the right side here, the right lane, while the traffic that comes from this highway here, this is connection to the other part of the city, then they use this off-ramp here, and they enter using the left lane. And you see here, I can speed it up for you, they're not going to converge. Each one is going to use its lane, and only later, as you can see over here, do they change this lane depending on where they're going to go after this lane. Are they going to go to the left or the right? And then by going through this avenue, you can see just how many lanes here are used. 1, 2, 3, 4 at least lanes are used. All the way down here, where then once again they pick which lane they're going to use depending on where they're going to go. So like I showed you throughout this video, the important fact is that you use these little tricks with the dead ends and other tricks like here that I showed you how to force the traffic to go where it needs to go depending on the road it picks, and reduce the number of lanes to force them to go where you want them to go and to take the lane that you want them to take. And also that the ends of those roads are forcing the traffic to go to a specific lane, and therefore using just that lane and leaving the other lanes alone for the traffic using them to go elsewhere. I think this video is probably gonna go a bit too long, and I hope you had the patience to watch through all of it, because it held a lot of very cool and nifty tricks to control your traffic without the mods. Thank you all for watching, and please stay tuned for more videos. And at the end of this video, I've placed just a small like a time zoom throughout the building of the stud city, so you can have some fun watching how the city grew and how it changed. Once again, thank you all for watching, and please enjoy the rest of the video.